Midweek Analysis.
Hey guys, this is a midweek analysis for January 27th of 2021. Okay, we'll start off with the Aussie NZD pair. Okay, this is a monthly chart, just a quick overview. So we're long biased and we're targeting at least this trend line level or this pivot high. Okay, now let's go on to entries. Alright, so last week I was talking about this was the last daily long trade, right? Then on the daily chart again, we had a short trade. And so we were talking about the possibility that we could get another pullback down to take another long to that monthly target. And that seems to be the case at this point. But you want to be careful if you're going to long this pullback entry, is that this trend line right here from this pivot to this pivot and this pivot to this pivot, these two trend lines cannot get broken out. Okay, if that gets broken out, there is a possibility of a further pullback down. Here's a weekly chart to this, to these trend lines right here, from this pivot to this pivot, or possibly even this pivot to this pivot. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about midweek price action. Okay, so on the midweek, this fall right here is pretty strong. Okay, so we really want to watch out for, first of all, that pullback entry long. But if price gets past this is a 4-hour chart, by the way. If price gets past this pivot right here, and more importantly, this pivot, so those levels being 1.0627 or 1.0613, then we should wait for that pullback to that weekly trend line I was talking about. So these levels right here. Okay, because that's like the last line of defense in terms of price. Okay. Okay, so let's go on to the Euro-USD pair. Oh, and please subscribe if you like these videos. And please push the like button. It will really help me out, guys. Thank you. Okay, the Euro-USD. Okay, we'll start off with a brief overview. Okay, this is a monthly chart. Right, so medium term we're long biased. Long term we're short biased until at least this pivot low right here. Okay. Alright, so let's talk entries. Okay, this is a daily chart. If you recall last week, there was a short trade here, but it's very weak, right? And so we're targeting that pivot high, right? So we want to long to that pivot high. Now we're also talking about how if price comes down, we want price to create distance between that target and the entry for more profits, right? So at this point, we're looking at this pivot to this pivot. Draw a trend line through there, right? So we're looking at this level for a possible entry. Okay. Now at this point, there was another reason why we're looking at this level, right? It's because, again, this is a daily chart. This H&S is fake, right? So a fake H&S, typically what happens is that it doesn't go its full target distance, right? Full target distance being here. So not going its full target distance actually coincides with these levels. Okay. All right, so let's talk about midweek's price action. What do we have? Okay, so midweek's price action. This is a 4-hour chart. Okay, if you draw a trend line from this pivot to this pivot. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong pivot. Okay, if you draw a trend line from this pivot to this pivot, right? You can see how it's been respected many times. Okay, so price is trying to get through that. Now, obviously, if price just goes up based on this and goes to that target, well, that's that, right? But what we want is more profits, right? So we want it to pull back once and then long it. So what we want to be looking for in the midweek's price action is for this 4-hour trend line to get broken out. Then we get a little bit more fall down. Okay. Okay, so let's go on to the Nzdusd USD pair. When I just put out lesson 5 of my price action trading course, it explains how to draw a trend line effectively. So if you have time, please check that out. Okay, so we'll just go with a brief overview. Okay, this is a daily chart, right? So what we want looking for a short right back down to this daily pivot low. Okay, now let's talk entries. Okay, so for entries, so we're talking about, this is a weekly chart, right? We want a price to start respecting a trend line. And at this point, from this pivot to this pivot, price is starting to respect that, right? And price is actually getting there right now. We want price to respect this with compact price action. Then simultaneously, on the 4-hour chart, what we want is for price to round out, right? Or we want price patterns, right? So at this point, we'll get a double top, or we could get a bigger HNS, right? So price falls here, goes like that, we get a bigger HNS. Okay, so that's what we want for entries to that daily short target. Okay, now let's talk midweek price action. Okay, so on the midweek, if you recall last week, I was talking about this HNS being fake, right? And so price did stop that out. Okay, so the people that entered here got stopped out. All right, but at this point, just because it got stopped out does not mean that price will go up and do that double top. Okay, this is just, at this point, it really could do either one. So, hold on. Right, so at this point, we could still get that double top that will move down, or a bigger HNS, right? Right, so for midweek price action, we really just pull back just to stop these guys out right here on the fake HNS. Okay, so we'll just see what happens with this, and I'll keep you guys updated on the weekly forecast. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so that's it for the midweek forecast. I hope you guys have a great rest of the week, and thanks for watching, guys. Bye.